Good morning and thank you for being here. Bonjour tout le monde. I'm Don Davies, interim leader of the New Democratic Party of Canada. Among other portfolios I hold, I am also the NDP critic for industry and jobs. Before proceeding to the news conference this morning, on behalf of all of us, I would like to express our deepest condolences to the victims, the families, and the community in Tumbler Ridge over the horrific shooting that occurred last night. There are really no words that are appropriate at a time like this other than for us to say that we mourn together, we grieve together, and we are all committed to sending whatever help or assistance is needed in these terrible circumstances. I also just want to take a moment to recognize the first responders, the RCMP officers and the paramedics, the healthcare workers, the hospital workers, and everyone else who stepped in at this moment of danger and risked their lives and are certainly experiencing firsthand the trauma that the entire community is facing. The impacts of U.S. President Donald Trump's threats to our nation's sovereignty and our economy are being felt by Canadians from all walks of life. People are experiencing direct consequences from these attacks and uncertainty, with high unemployment, especially acute among young people, and rising prices making it very difficult for families and people to make ends meet. Canadians want to see their Parliament address these national crises, starting with building the vital infrastructure that creates jobs and connects communities. In this context, it's a great honor for me to welcome three Labour leaders to the press gallery today. They represent three of Canada's largest and most respected unions, the Steelworkers, Unifor, and CUPE. Collectively, they represent over 1.3 million Canadians in every occupation, public and private sectors, in every corner of our country, and tens of thousands of workers in Canada's telecommunications industry. These leaders have come together to create an alliance of Canadian technical workers in this industry, a creative and unprecedented enterprise that offers the federal government and Canadians real value. This alliance has something unique that Canada desperately needs: operational expertise on the ground concerning some of the most important issues facing Canadians in Canada: data security, privacy, sovereignty, and jobs. We will hear specifically from them about the worrisome trend of offshoring of Canadian telecommunications jobs, often by companies who receive public subsidies from Canadian taxpayers, a practice that threatens the security of our data and ability to control our digital futures. The issues they raise cross party lines. They concern Canada's place and future in a digital, connected world. I invite all parties to support this alliance's effort to protect jobs here in Canada and to strengthen this vital sector. I'm so honored to introduce these three fabulous Labour leaders. In turn, it will be Lana Payne, National President of Unifor, then Mark Hancock, National President of the Canadian Union of Public Employees, and finally, Marty Warren, Canadian National Director of the United Steelworkers. So I'm pleased to turn the mic over to Ms. Payne.
Good morning, everybody, and thanks for joining us here today, and also hello to all of our members at home as well. I'm very proud to be here to take part in the launch of the Canadian Telecommunications Workers Alliance. Our new coalition of Unifor, CUPE, and the United Steelworkers brings together the largest unions representing telecommunications workers across our country and marks an important shift in how workers will fight for the future of Canada's telecom jobs. Unifor represents 24,000 members in the telecommunications sector at Bell Canada, at SaskTel, at Progistix, at Wirecom, at Eastlink, and Zayo Canada. Our members are the technicians maintaining our networks and the customer service and clerical staff that keep customers connected. Together, our unions represent tens of thousands of workers on the front lines of an industry which is quite frankly struggling. For decades already, Canadian telecom workers have faced layoffs, downsizing, the constant threat of outsourcing, and aggressive contracting out to other countries. The erosion of good jobs has impacted the services our members can provide and those that Canadians deserve. Canada is a wealthy nation, and we deserve as Canadians the very best of telecommunications services. We get there by investing in people, in jobs, in infrastructure. We get there not by stock buybacks and weak regulatory oversight that does not provide the good communications and telecommunications jobs we need. As the union who has been responding right now for more than 13 months to a trade war we didn't ask for, started by a U.S. president we did not elect, I can't stress this enough. There has never been a more important time in our country to protect core economic and strategic sectors like telecommunications and to defend the good jobs they should create. There should be no bad telecommunications job. Why? Because in today's world, being connected is how we compete successfully in the world and how we connect in our society. There has never been a more important time to think about how the industry is so connected and integral to our national security and indeed our very sovereignty. There has never been a more important time to think and enact the policies, regulatory framework, and protections we need to support a strong industrial economy for generations to come. We know that the sector is changing, evolving, advancing, and progressing, but this is not contrary to strong, good jobs in a sector that is foundational to a modern world. In fact, they should complement each other. Technological change and artificial intelligence are a daily reality for this sector. What matters is how we use both to improve the working lives of telecommunications workers and tech workers too. The other reality is that no matter the changes in technology, we will need strong telecommunications in Canada, and we will need workers to build, maintain, and service the sector. We should have good union telco jobs here in Canada. Canadians expect this, but it means we need to look at the sector through today's world, a world of instability and chaos. The truth is that we cannot build a resilient and secure economy while giving up on these jobs and allowing them to be shipped overseas. In the past year, if it has taught us anything in this country, it is that we must build our industries and support good jobs here at home. And we need corporations, frankly, to step up. Corporations who have benefited from Canadians, from Canadian laws and regulations, from being protected from unfair competition. The return on that should be and must be good union jobs in this country and outstanding services for Canadians. According to our research, in the last 10 years, major telecommunications corporations have outsourced nearly 20,000 jobs. This is not only a blow to workers and their families, but it erodes our ability to control and protect our own networks. Every Canadian has the right to question this. The CRTC should question this. In an increasingly unstable world, we need to shore up our telecommunications networks and protect the data of Canadians. This is part of how we defend our sovereignty and our national security. International subcontractors engage in a race to the bottom and are handed our personal and business data despite not being bound by Canadian rules or protections putting our privacy and national security at risk. This workers' alliance is especially important as the industry shifts investment away from traditional telecommunications and towards technology, AI, cloud computing, and of course, cybersecurity. This shift must not be a backdoor for further outsourcing or the erosion of workers' rights or our privacy and security. We must keep Canadian infrastructure in Canadian hands. It's no more complicated than that. Together, we are telling our governments that these corporations in Canada must be part of building a resilient economy. For Unifor, this is the very heart of our Protect Canadian Jobs campaign. In telecommunications particularly, protecting Canadian jobs means protecting workers, protecting our data, and protecting our sovereignty. We are proud to join with CUPE and with the steelworkers to fight for a future where we support local workers and their communities, where our critical infrastructure is operated by Canadians, and where our digital sovereignty is never up for negotiation. It's time to invest in the people who keep our country connected. It's time to protect Canadian jobs and secure our digital future. And we're here together to fight for all of that. Thank you very much. I'm going to turn things over now to Mark.
Thanks, Lana. Good morning. My name is Mark Hancock. I'm the National President of the Canadian Union of Public Employees. We represent over 800,000 members across the country, including 5,000 workers in the telecom sector. Telecommunications is part of everyday life for just about every Canadian, but that doesn't mean that it should be taken for granted. From our access to the internet, to the signal on our smartphones, to access to TV programming. These services can only exist with the telecom infrastructure and the hard work of our members. But the sector is quietly becoming hollowed out and undermined by the very companies we fund and trust to run it. Instead of creating jobs here in Canada, Canada's telecom giants are creating thousands of jobs in a number of foreign countries, in India, in Egypt, and in the United States. While workers here get their pink slips, Canadian telecom giants are outsourcing the work all across the globe to the lowest bidders. We are selling out Canadian workers, plain and simple. We are here today to demand that that stop now. Because this is morally bankrupt behavior, it doesn't just affect Canadian workers, it affects Canadian consumers as well. Keeping jobs in Canada also means maintaining safe services for Canadians. We have lost thousands of jobs, and we have made the sector more and more vulnerable to foreign countries, be they corporations or the countries themselves. Every time telecoms contract out work and offshore work overseas, they make us more and more reliant on foreign telecom infrastructure. They also increase the risks of personal data being misused. CUPE represents employers like TELUS, Videotron, and Cogeco in Quebec. In 10 years, our membership in the sector has gone from 8,000 to 5,000. Each year, hundreds of jobs are sent abroad or cut. It's a real crisis that impacts the Canadian economy, our national security, and our personal data. I have to say that Cogeco has been keeping jobs in Canada so far, but it's not the case with the other players. I don't have to draw you a picture with the current global context. Our telecoms network is vital national infrastructure and a critical sector for our economy. It is essential for our security and our sovereignty as a nation that we protect and maintain Canadian control over telecoms infrastructure. Now is the time for the federal government to do its job and to legislate the basic protections that we need to keep good telecom jobs in Canada and to bring back some of those jobs as well. Thank you very much.
Good morning. My name is Marty Warren. I am the National Director for the United Steelworkers Union. Our union represents over 225,000 members across Canada, including well over 4,000 workers in the telecoms sector, such as technicians, network specialists, call center workers, and IT professionals who build, who maintain, and secure the networks Canadians rely on every single day. At Davos just a few weeks ago, the Prime Minister Carney said, when you're not at the table, you're on the menu. Well, we can all tell here that for too long, far too long, telecom workers in this country have been on the menu. Decisions about our network, our data, our jobs, our national security, and are being made without people who actually build, maintain, and operate the infrastructure who are in this room. The Alliance exists to change that. Today, we're bringing together the three largest Canadian unions in telecoms sector because we all see the same problem, the same risks, if nothing's done. Telecommunications is not just another sector of the economy. It's a critical infrastructure. It carries Canadians' personal information, financial data, emergency communications, and access to essential public services. Every time Canadians make a call, log into an account, or dial 911, they're trusting that their data is protected and the system will work when it matters. But today, federal telecoms policy relies mainly on self-reporting from large carriers and vendors like Rogers, Bell, TELUS, and Ericsson. The voice that is missing is the worker's voice, the people who understand these systems in practice, not just on paper. And when workers' voice is pushed out of the conversation, the result is what we're seeing now. A sector broken up through layers of contractors and subcontractors, with more work being offshored and more Canadian data access outside of the borders. That should concern every Canadian. When telecom jobs are offshored, privacy risks increase. When data is handled in jurisdictions with weaker protections, accountability is reduced. And when workers' expertise is excluded from policy decisions, Canadians are left more exposed economically and digitally. That is why the United Steelworkers, along with Unifor and CUPE, came together to form the Canadian Telecommunications Workers Alliance. The CTWA is not a protest movement, it's a necessary correction. I repeat, a necessary correction. We exist to bring operational expertise into the public policy, support lawmakers with real-world insight, and to ensure that protecting good Canadian jobs also means protecting Canadian privacy and Canadian sovereignty. The people who run this critical infrastructure belong in the room where futures are decided. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We'll now open up to the floor for questions. First up will be Paul Park from the Wire Report.
Thank you. What concrete actions can the government take to protect these jobs?
Step number one is they need to understand, like we do, that the jobs are actually being offshored, and the CRTC has a role to play in that, including making sure that these companies are reporting exactly what's going on in their ecosystem. Secondly, we need to examine all of the vulnerabilities right now that we have as a country, and I would suggest to you that our telecommunications network is one of them. Thirdly, we need to develop an industrial strategy for telecommunications that has workers at the table, as Marty has said.
Okay. And how hopeful are you that the government will respond to this?
Oh, I have all kinds of hope. How else would I get up in the morning? Also, I'm with these guys. Come on, we can convince anyone of anything right now. We'll just have to keep pushing. And obviously, with our tens of thousands of members across the country, they're going to be part of this. And this week on the Hill, we have a leadership from our telecom sectors that are meeting, I think some met with you yesterday, but meeting with MPs, and we're just going to keep doing this and to make sure that our elected officials actually understand what we understand, that we have vulnerabilities, and we have to make sure that we're looking at where they are and that we're correcting them.
And I would just add the one piece, just you've heard a lot about it in some of the tariff stuff, but procurement, a lot, millions upon millions of Canadian taxpayer dollars go to these telecompanies, and that's why the job should be kept in Canada. If we're spending Canadian taxpayer monies, it should be producing Canadian jobs that can own a home, raise a family, send your kids to school, and retire in dignity. And I think that's a big piece of what we need to see changed in the telecom sector.
Just to close it up, we saw our Prime Minister in Davos a couple weeks ago now talking about the New World Order, and things are not business as usual. And this is a real opportunity for this Prime Minister, for this government, for all parties in Parliament here to work together to support not only the workers that are in this industry, but to make sure that our data is protected. And I can't underscore that enough. Every time, we go on our phones, we jump on the internet, our personal data, our personal lives are open for other countries to use. And as you heard in my remarks, the United States is one of the big countries that work is being contracted out to. So we're calling on the Prime Minister to work with the NDP and with other parties in Parliament to protect workers, yes, but also to protect our privacy.
Thank you.
I have to add my word now that don't want to feel
Really?
left
A
out here, but
politician who isn't going to
yeah,
speak.
exactly. I was just going to say, in addition to the excellent points that are being made, that the essence of Mr. Carney's speech in Davos is that all of our old assumptions are done, and if those are going to be more than just words, then we're going to have to see action and real policy changes. And, we talk about, and Mr. Carney talks about projects of national importance. He talks about using Canadian companies, Canadian products, Canadian technology, Canadian workers. We often think of those in terms of tangible things like steel or aluminum, but of course we're in a digital world. And so I think those aspirations apply equally to things like telecommunications. And I would just say, you asked about optimism. I've been in Parliament for some time now, and I have never seen a federal government that really truly appreciates and values the input that comes from the workers who actually produce and deliver the services. And in this industry, after having a chance and opportunity to meet twice now with some of the people who actually do this work on the ground, it struck me what a terrible vacuum that is if policymakers don't have the benefit of the on-the-ground knowledge of the people, as was said, who install, who repair, who operate these systems. Then I don't think we're going to have the best Canadian policy that we can. So I'm inviting Prime Minister Carney and frankly every government in this country to open their policy doors and let labor and workers in, not just to protect their interests, but so that they get the benefit of the, I think, unique knowledge that they have that can't come from anywhere else. And I think that in this time of great danger to our sovereignty and security, that those voices are needed now more than ever.
Do you have a follow-up? No? Okay. I'll take the opportunity to ask a question on behalf of Global News. Mr. Davies, you spoke a little bit off the top about Tumbler Ridge. I just wanted to ask you if you could elaborate on your conversations with other BC leaders right now. What are you hearing from your constituents about this tragedy?
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I received a call last night from Minister Krieger's office in BC while the shooting was still active. And I was briefed on that at the time. We didn't know, of course, what the results were at that point in time. We now know, I think, as of this moment, some 10 people are dead and at least 25 injured. So I don't think anybody knows enough now to make any kind of sense of this horrific tragedy. I think what's needed at this time is to recognize the incredible trauma that is being suffered, and for all of us to join together to make sure that whatever resources and support are needed at this time are delivered swiftly. I think Premier Eby said it best when he said that we don't expect these things to happen here. These things happen in other places. Well, I guess that's what makes it so incredibly affecting and profoundly disturbing when a community like Tumbler Ridge, you know, a small place with a few thousand residents, experiences, you know, the kind of outbreak of violence that we're not used to in Canada. So we're all trying to make sense of this at this point in time. I think we just all have to let the professionals do their work, and our job as politicians and leaders, I think, in this country, is to provide the support necessary to the people who are suffering.
Thank you, Mr. Davies. With no more questions in the room or online, I believe that concludes this press conference. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone.